This is my crossover machine. I built it with the help of my 3-year-old daughter.
Well, I'm going to have a this put down and snip into edge off. Snip, so you can do it much easier.
And used it to cross dimensions and YouTube channels to chat with the Doctor Who guide about times that Doctor Who has crossed over with other fictional universes. But it broke before we could finish. We did manage to cover TV and book crossovers though, so head over to the Doctor Who Guide YouTube channel to check those out. Don't worry though, YouTube's like a big ball of wibbly wobbly timey wimey stuff, so it doesn't matter which order you watch the videos in. Luckily, I fixed the machine, so with any luck we'll be able to get Alex back. Here goes nothing. Alex? Alex, are you there?
Phil? Is that you?
Hey, Alex. Sorry about that. I just had to make a quick repair to the machine. It's all working now, though, so we can carry on. Why did you get changed into a dressing gown?
A quick repair? Phil, it's been 2 months. It's the middle of the night. I'm in my dressing gown.
Oh, sorry. Must be a weird effect of the machine. It's been like 10 minutes for me. Better go on with the video then, hey? So you can get to bed.
Sure, let me get changed.
Well, while Alex makes himself presentable, let's crack on and start with movies. Looney Tunes Back in Action was a 2003 live-action and animation matchup. It starred Brendan Fraser and Jenna Elfman as the two human main characters, who of course meet up with Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck and all of those Looney Tunes WB characters. You know, like in Space Jam, but not as good. I'm sorry, anybody that says Looney Tunes Back in Action is better than Space Jam is wrong. They're just wrong. In a scene set in a lab in Area 52, Bugs Bunny and Brendan Fraser's character open a door to a lab to discover there are lots of aliens in there and they all want to attack them. And 2 of those aliens happen to be Daleks. But it's alright, the only character that the Daleks end up exterminating is Marvin the Martian, who I think is a bad guy in this as well.
Alright, so the next movie that we have is Iron Sky, and it's sort of about the Earth, like, defeating Nazis who are on the moon. While it may sound like an interesting premise, it got a 5.9 out of 10 on IMDb and a 37% response on Rotten Tomatoes, so the response to the film is that it's not very good. But what it can be credited for is that in the penultimate scene where like all of the ships are going into battle, you do see a little tiny police box just flying towards the moon to go stop some Nazis. So that is a really cool reference to Doctor Who, and it's totally a TARDIS in that scene, so that's pretty cool.
2017's Lego Batman movie was, amongst other things, hilarious, but also full of pop culture references. And, spoiler alert, one big plot point in the film is the Joker releasing lots of movie and TV villains from the Phantom Zone. Amongst those released are Harry Potter's Voldemort, Lord of the Rings Sauron, and some evil British robots who look an awful lot like Daleks. Let's face it, they're Daleks. I don't know why they couldn't use the name, but apparently they can't, and they're just evil British robots. But we know. They're Daleks. You know, I think this machine's done something to my voice.
How's that? Is that any better? Any better now? Oh dear, that's worse.
The next category is the world and realm of audio. So of course we're going to make a stop by Big Finish to talk about the Bernice Summerfield audio dramas. Specifically we're talking about Shades of Grey, which is part of the Legion series. And this story serves as a pilot for a series that would later come in Big Finish called The Confessions of Dorian Gray. And while this series started out in the Bernice Summerfield and therefore Doctor Who universe, the rest of the series is not at all set within the Doctor Who universe, which is why it counts as a crossover. Both Vienna, Dorian Gray, and Sherlock Holmes were in the Worlds of Doctor Who box set, which crossed over with Bernice Summerfield, so that's a pretty cool box set for crossovers.
Now, in 2012, American comics publisher IDW found itself in the enviable position of having the license for 2 of sci-fi's longest running franchises. Star Trek, and Doctor Who. And they were not going to waste it. For the first time ever, we got a Star Trek and a Doctor Who crossover. It came in the form of an 8-part miniseries which saw the 11th Doctor, Amy and Rory cross over into the Star Trek universe, and also the Cybermen crossover as well, and team up with the Borg. What better pairing could you ask for? The Cybermen and the Borg have so many similarities. Maybe too many similarities. I won't spoil it. The story kind of actually takes place over 2 different time zones, with the 11th Doctor, Amy and Rory, having an adventure with Star Trek The Next Generation's crew, Picard and all, whereas the 4th Doctor we get flashes back to is having an adventure with Kirk and his crew. But the 11th Doctor doesn't start off remembering the 4th Doctor stuff, and as we see it in the plot, he starts to suddenly get headaches and remember these memories. So we get to see classic Cybermen having a battle with Kirk and the 4th Doctor, and we get to see new Cybermen teaming up with the Borg and battling the 11th Doctor with the Next Generation cast.
I actually got an art card from this comic crossover series, and my brother was able to take it at a convention and get it signed by the artist for me because I was in line for another person, so I'm pretty proud of that.
Here's the thing about this though, it is established in the plot that the Doctor, Amy and Rory have travelled from another universe to have this adventure, but they don't ever mention the fact that the characters they're interacting with are fictional characters where they're from. And they are fictional characters where they're from because there have been many references to Star Trek in the TV show.
I think you should do a scan for alien tech. Give me some Spock.
So that's a little odd.
So next up in the comics is the Marvel UK crossovers with Doctor Who. So basically, when Marvel UK owned Doctor Who Monthly, later Doctor Who Magazine, they would have crossovers with characters like Death's Head, Keepsake, and the Special Executive who would make appearances in the Doctor Who comics. Now, Marvel Premiere is a series of reprints done by Marvel of 4th Doctor comics, and I actually have a couple of those, and they would be in color. They're not crossovers with Marvel characters, but they're Doctor Who comics printed by Marvel, so that's pretty cool.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 8 is a comic book continuation of the Buffy the Vampire Slayer series, and one considered canon because it is in part written and all executive produced by Joss Whedon himself. And in part 1 of the No Future For You storyline, as we get an exterior shot of Giles' apartment, we see walking along the pavement 2 very familiar figures. Yep, unless there's some extremely good lookalikes, that is the Doctor and Rose. It's a very brief cameo, there's no lines, but I'm counting it.
The next crossover we have is with the longest running British children's comic magazine, which is called The Beano and has over 3,500 issues. It'll actually hit 4,000 issues in 2019. Now in the episode The Rings of Akaton, the 11th Doctor is watching Dave Oswald, but trying not to let Dave Oswald know that he's watching him, so he's hiding behind the Beano 1981 Summer Special magazine. And as a result of this magazine appearing in Doctor Who, they actually did a reprint of this magazine that had some self-referential Doctor Who parts in it, which is very exciting.
And our final topic is live performances. This one actually happened during the planning stages of this video. Back in July 2018, only a couple of months ago from my perspective here recording this, there was, at the O2 Arena in London, a show called The Muppets Take the O2. Now, if you know your Muppets, you know that they have a long-running sketch called Pigs in Space! It's basically Star Trek, but with pigs. And so, at this big, massive show at the O2, there was a Pigs in Space sketch, with a special guest star. Now, there is a YouTube video floating around that somebody recorded while in the audience, so by all means go and try and find that to watch it. I'm not going to put it in here. But what basically happens is we hear a familiar noise coming from off stage. I almost said off screen, off stage. Yep, the TARDIS is materialising, and from the wings comes David Tennant in his full 10th Doctor outfit, brandishing his sonic screwdriver to save the day. Who would have thought it? The Doctor appearing with the Muppets. Oh, you know, I'd really like an episode of Doctor Who where they all get turned into Muppets. Like Angel's Smile Time, but on Doctor Who.
Thank you so much for having me on here, Phil, and don't forget you can watch the first part of this collaboration. We had a lot of fun over on the Doctor Who Guide.
Link in the thingamy below.
And seriously guys, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, then definitely do so. Phil has a lot of great content already on here. Thanks for having me, Phil. I better get back to bed though, because if Grandma catches me up now, I will be in trouble. So I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Cheers, Alex. Don't forget to check out the other part of this 2-part series on Alex's channel and his channel in general. And also, of course, don't forget to like, share, subscribe and all that jazz right here. I'll be back for more Doctor Who videos soon, so I will see you then. Bye.